Kia ora team, and welcome to this short introduction video on the use of Hogans psychometric assessment tool, which we're currently using as part of our recruitment process. Now, a psychometric assessment can be a really powerful way of gaining deeper insights into the person that we're hiring, whether that be to assess their job fit and culture fit, or to some degree minimize the risk of a bad hire. But at the same time, without the proper understanding of the context and the tool that we're using, there's always a risk of us either not applying the psychometrics properly, misinterpreting the results, or often oversimplifying what the results are or are not telling us. So whether you're a hiring manager or part of a recruiting panel, this video is going to give you the information and knowledge that you need so you can better understand the psychometric tool that we use, apply it in the right way, ask the right questions, and ultimately make a well-informed decision as part of the recruiting process. So let's get into it. Before we even talk about the Hogans psychometric tool, we first need to understand the why and what value can psychometrics play in a talent acquisition process. At the top of the list is hiring the right person. And by that, we don't just mean the right job fit, but also the right culture fit for the team we are hiring into and alignment with the company values and culture. The second reason is to identify and initiate any red flag conversations. Now, when it comes to psychometrics, there is no pass or fail, but rather it's about alignment or misalignment or fit or not fit with the competencies required for a specific role or a profession. And if they're not aligned, then that's a conversation we definitely want to have. Next is to understand what's really going to make the person tick, what's going to motivate and engage them. And especially as a hiring manager, what can you do to get the best out of this person? This is also going to help you onboard them and further develop them once they are in their role. Finally, a psychometric assessment integrated into a robust recruiting process is also going to help us mitigate and minimize the risk of a bad hire and the cost and the emotional burden that goes with managing performance or a dismissal. Now, there are literally hundreds of psychometrics out there, and not all of them are equal. You get what you pay for. As a company, the one we subscribe to needs to be based on psychology and behavioral science and provide insights into the main personality factors, rather than typecasting the person into a box. The psychometric tool needs to be supported by statistical data and in particular a New Zealand norm group. As you all know, New Zealand culture and values that are associated with leadership, social skills or teamwork can be a bit different to other Western countries. And ideally, as a holistic organizational solution, our psychometrics should tie into our onboarding and development process, our competency framework, the way we manage performance, and our company values. So let's look at the Hogans Inventory, the psychometric tool that we're currently using for a recruiting process. The Hogan test is based on 300 questions, which produce descriptive scales that give us insights into a person's attributes, values, and behaviors. Through prospective questioning and developed data sets, the questions that are asked and the scales that are designed give us insights into a person's reputation. That's how others perceive them, rather than their identity, what they think of themselves. The scales are then represented in comparison to a New Zealand norm group. So, for example, if someone is perceived as being on the 91st percentile on a particular scale, then they're saying that 90% of Kiwis are likely to be lower than them on that particular scale. And then finally, it is important to understand that psychometric assessments are not a predictor of a person's skills, knowledge or experience in the particular field or their particular profession, nor are they representative of their literacy or numeracy skills. So that's different. And then the final results are presented in 3 reports that give us insights into a person's potential, challenges and values. And each report comes with a detailed descriptor of each scale associated with those. The potential, which is also called the HPI or the bright side, tells us about the personality characteristics that we will see from this person on a day-to-day basis. We all know that professional and vocational skills are important. Like, for example, pilots should know how to fly, engineers should know how to do maths, and chefs should know their ingredients. However, professional and career success often needs more than that, and the HPI, or the bright side, describes the characteristics that have made the person successful both in their life and their career. The challenges, which also called the HDS or the dark side, Tell us what we will see from this person when they're derailing, when they're stressed, tired, fatigued, bored, hungry, feeling threatened, or any of those. We all have those days, and these are the ineffective behaviors that often come out when we are not self-managing ourselves, and often hinder us and those that we work with. And then finally, the values, which are also called the MVPIs or the insights. These show us the person's motives, values, and interests that affect their life and work. This is what we often call the culture fit. People's values will also influence how they feel rewarded, how they connect with others around them, and how they make value-based decisions. As a hiring manager, understanding what really drives this person can be a really powerful way of engaging them, motivating them, and getting the best out of them if they are successful. And putting the bright side and the dark side behaviors together with the inside values of this person, we can get a good insight into what their job performance is going to be like. And finally, let's look at how you can apply the Hogans Psychometric Assessment tool as a hiring manager or as part of a recruiting panel. First, you want to work with an experienced practitioner who can help you interpret the results and answer any specific questions to help you make the right decisions. It is also important to know that the scales don't work in isolation, and the behaviors that often manifest in the workplace are a combination or a cluster of scales working together. For most of the scales, high scores don't mean good and low scores don't mean bad. Both high and low ends of the scores have strengths and weaknesses associated with them. Now, most people who are aware of their weaknesses will already have some strategies and techniques that they have developed over life to deal with those weaknesses and derailers. And these people can often be more effective in the workplace than someone who is unaware or has a blind spot on what their derailers are. And these insights can really help you ask the right questions, whether they be at the interview or when interpreting the psychometric results. For example, what would they be like under a certain scenario? You can ask them during an interview what their strategies are for dealing with certain derailing behaviors or certain situations, understanding what really makes them tick, understanding how they would perform in specific situations or during specific tasks that require them to be extra diligent, creative, innovative, collaborative, or really use their social skills, understanding how they would lead and build a team, how they would build relationship with those around them, or it could be around how they build their reputation in a new company. And these questions are not only going to help you get the most out of the psychometric, but also help you during the interview process. So that's it on the Hogans Psychometric Assessment tool. The information that we have covered here today is not only going to help you apply the tool, but also to get the maximum value out of the psychometrics that we put our candidates through. It's going to help you make a decision and ultimately find the best person for your team. So happy recruiting.